Well, hello there, and welcome back.
Just time for another episode. Time for some more taint. Joining us this evening,
It is time.
this daintiness.
Joining
I'm
us
gonna pour up
tonight
my
is
taint
another bottle
while
of
my
Sailor
buddy
Jerry.
here introduces himself.
Oh, we're friends. I'm glad
Well,
you
we're
finally aren't ashamed to admit
I
that in
wouldn't use the
public
F word.
anymore. Oh,
Yeah,
acquaintances?
I mean, maybe one day you'll get
Maybe.
there.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm Andrew. I'm your Bijan Mahale. I'm Mahale the Bijans and Bijan the Mahales.
He does. I've seen him do it. I'm Josh. I'm the Soravan Mahale, and I will be dispensing this week's dose of taint in a semi-invisible cup, as always.
It almost makes it look like it's super reflective gold. Kind of.
That's what it is, right?
Maybe
There.
it's
Super
your
reflective gold.
your royal
is my-
chalice.
Golden chalice. It's the best chalice in the world. A lot of people love my chalice.
The fact that it's just a random plastic cup just makes it even better. Anyway,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
anyway,
Good times.
if you want to be able to hear what kind of shenanigans we get into before recording, head on over to blacktowerpod.com where you can find the fancy handy dandy link to our Patreon, where if you
Facts.
would like to, you can help support what we do here
For
financially.
just as little $1 a month, you can support a starving Ashaman and his family.
So, and you can even subscribe to support for a year at a time, which gets you, I think it's like a 12 or 13% discount. So
That's
if like
true.
the dollar tier would be $12 for a year, it comes down to 1080 or so USD. I'm
Per
not good
year.
with math, but I know that's more than 10%. So
It's good times.
yeah, so it's a good deal if you want to do it. If not, then please just continue to enjoy this, and we thank you for your support and listening to us. Anyway, the Patreon lets us do some more neat and fun stuff. Helps us
It's true.
go to different conventions and get stuff for our annual celebration in October. Everything that comes into through Patreon and anywhere else that we get any kind of money from definitely goes straight back into the podcast. So, because our
That's true.
payment is just the enjoyment and the warm, fuzzy feelings in our hearts.
It's all of you, the friends we made along the way, which, you know, is a fun joke to make, but actually kind of true. The real treasure is the friends we made along the way. It's facts. It's facts. Well done. Anyway, without
that
further
and the
ado,
fancy treasure box.
and the treasure box itself. Yeah, that's a good one.
I finally moved it somewhere where you can actually see it in the camera, rather than it just sitting on the floor holding up a sword.
Speaking of the friends we made along the way, we do have some friends with us tonight. We're super excited. But before we get into that, Andrew, should we throw out a spoiler alert? Probably not.
I don't know that we need one, really.
Hey!
Wait, hold on. We do have one that we rarely get to use.
Oh, that's right.
We rarely get to use this one. Here you go.
Free spoiler. There it is. Go.
The spoiler-free spoiler for this episode.
Welcome to the Black Tower, a Wheel of Time podcast. All right, let's check this one. Well, look at that. This podcast episode is actually spoiler-free, and that's a BTP guarantee or your money back. What? You've already spent the money. Okay, so no money. But I'm sure they'll send you coins or stickers or... What? What do you mean you spent it on booze that don't have merch? Well, I mean, I guess they can give you a shout out on Twitter or... What? What do you mean you're moving back to MySpace? Maybe they'll put you in their top 8?
Hashtag WhatSpace. I'm going for. I still want it, dude. Nobody is on MySpace right now. Nobody. Hashtag WhatSpace. I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna start up a Black Tower podcast. MySpace.
MySpace. Go find all the old profile coding.
Yes.
Maybe you can. Maybe when you add music to the profile, you can find the full soundtrack from like season 1 and 2, and just add it as the music for the profile. Yeah.
Well,
speaking
let's
of
invite our guests
adding,
in.
Let's add our
and
guests.
see what they think about MySpace.
Say hello. Hi.
Hello. I think I'm gonna try to.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think we lost her.
All right, Doll, you go first.
Hi. Am I supposed to introduce myself?
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell
Hi,
everybody who you are, where you're from.
Hi, my name's Doll, or Adala Sadai at Tarvalon.net. I also work for JordanCon. If you've ever been, you might have seen me in the main track running around like I don't know what I'm doing. People think I do, but they don't. But yeah, I've been a long-term member of Tarvalon.net, and I also am the editor and one of the hosts for our Tarvalon Talks podcast.
Sweet.
So
Do you guys
you're
have like a central
definitely used to
website?
this.
Yeah, Tarvalon.net. We have message forums, the old message forums that people used to use back in the day. We still have one.
Excellent.
And we have our library, which is a wiki, which has a lot of information on the Wheel of Time, as well as the history of our, our club and, all our members. And we also do events throughout the year around the country and the world where our members get together and just celebrate being fans and our friendships. So it's a little bit of a social club based around the Wheel of Time.
Awesome.
Hi, and Sarah's back.
That's where and
I'm
it goes
back.
right along with what I was saying before about it's a joke, but it's not a joke. The real treasure is the friends we made along the way.
It really is. Like I've been a member since 2002, 3. I can't remember now, but it's been 20 years.
So just
It's
a
been
couple
over.
years.
It's just a few years. So I've got people I've known since my 20s, and I'm in my 40s now. Like they've known them half my life.
You do not look like you're in your 40s.
Well, thank you.
It's
I am.
the love of Wheel of Time keeping you young.
It's the Aes Sedai,
Oh, the ageless. Yeah,
ageless.
That's right. I'm also in my 40s, so
Sorry about the
You're
drawback
doing
to that
great.
agelessness, but it does wonders for the skin.
It does.
I think Andrew was potty trained by then. But how about Sarah? You cut out your internet connection had a little bit of was attacked by the taint.
Bubble
Tell
of
her-
evil, if you will.
Yeah, it's. My internet is not a fan of Wheel of Time, even though I am. So I'm Sarah. I've been on Tarvalon.net for the last 2.5 years. So not nearly as long as Doll. Also, this is Mr. Squeak. Apologies in advance for any pug noises that you might hear.
Oh my
She's
God,
also
he's
a
so
big Wheel of
cute.
Time fan. And she likes to make her presence known.
We love
But yeah,
Mr.
I'm I didn't think honestly that I would like Tarvalon.net as much as I do. But it's great.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Squeak right there being like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
you know you.
You know what I
Yeah.
want now? I really, really want Rafe and team to in season 3 put a pug face Trolloc in, and I want it like battle cry to sound like that kind of stereotypical
Yeah.
like pug squeak bark.
The
Oh,
the opportunity.
I volunteer
was
my
this.
pugs as sound effects.
Yes, Rafe, company. We know you're listening. You're big
Yeah.
fans of the Black Tower. We know it. We don't tell anybody though.
it's just Rand walking around a corner somewhere, and then just suddenly pug Trolloc.
This big hulking like
Snorg.
that would be great. They missed the
I mean,
opportunity with
if-
the little. Go ahead. Sorry.
If one of the Dune movies can have a pug, I don't see why Wheel of Time can't.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Fast forward 2,000 years where computers and all form of electronic computations are illegal and they still have puns. They still have puns too. Why can't the Wheel of Time have pugs?
I just
Exactly.
rewatched the Kingsman Secret Service thing.
I love those movies.
I forgot about the pug in the movie until Etsy like picked the pug, and I just like it's a horrible scene because obviously I'm not all for pointing firearms at dogs, but the fact that the pug was like so trusting and just like just staring at him like not a single thought behind his eyes was I was like, oh, he's so sweet.
I have not seen this movie, and now I don't think I want to.
Oh,
It's
no.
actually pretty good.
They're great
It's
movies.
a good movie. Nothing happens to the dogs. It turns out it's yeah.
It's,
I'm gonna leave
It's
it.
a
I don't want to
spoiler.
spoil it for you, but
if you go to doesthedogdie.com, you'll get a no.
Right.
Yeah.
Also,
Is that a website?
doesthedogdie.com
It is.
a real thing. It's a real website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
It tells you more than just like does the dog die.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah.
other things like it's a content warning basically. So you can go
Oh.
see like, is this movie? Am I gonna hate this movie? Or is this movie gonna trigger a bunch of stuff I don't want to deal with? And
Yeah.
so it's a pretty cool site.
It's actually, yeah, I was going to say, I know it's real easy for people to be kind of passe about it, but it's actually kind of cool because it's like, I think it's the exact thing that you kind of need in a media consumption thing, because you don't want to go to a movie and then get, hurt or offended or anything like that and be like, well, what the hell?
Right.
And then leave. And everybody's like, oh gosh, you idiot. Like, control yourself. Well, it gives you a chance to be like, cool, I'm not going to like this. I'm not going to go see the movie.
Exactly.
That's great. I think that's awesome. Anyway, Doll, let's start with you. Let's talk about your journey. Like, how did you first find the Wheel of Time? Like, what was that Harry Potter wand choosing him moment where you picked up the Eye of the World and the universe just stars aligned and you knew this was going to be your personality for the next 20 years?
So it wasn't quite. And I had a few wasn't quite like that. I had a few false starts. I tried starting the Eye of the World in high school in the mid-90s. I got partway through it, just couldn't finish it, mostly because of time. It was slow and I wasn't getting into it. I had to move on to other things. I tried again later. It wasn't until 2001 I had gallbladder surgery. It was a complicated surgery. It ended up being converted to an open surgery. So I was in bed for 6 months before I could sit up straight and walk because they had to cut through all of the muscles in the abdomen. So I was reading and my husband kept bringing me books to read. And I finally said, I need something longer. So he brings me the Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. He's like, here, these should tide you over for a while.
He understood the assignment.
He did. And at that time, I couldn't go anywhere. So I had to get in, finish it. So at that point, I read the entire series all the way up through, I think Winter's Heart had just come out. Because I actually had to go out and buy the Winter's Heart because he didn't have it yet. And he had all the other books. So I went and found a paperback of Winter's Heart, finished it, and that's when it's like, I've got to talk about this. At this point, he was like, I'm just kind of over the series. I don't want to talk about it. So, what? Right? Oh my God, who am I going to talk about with this?
Had he read Winter's Heart at this point in time?
He had not
Okay.
read Winter's Heart. He read, what was it before? I always forget the order of the books.
Crown of Swords.
Crown of Swords, yeah, he'd finished that, and he just had not had a chance to read Winter's Heart, and he's like, it's so many books, I'm not going to read them until they're all done. And I don't think he has yet. But, so that's when I got online, and I'm like, Wheel of Time, and I found Tarvalon.net, and at the time, it was just an easy forum, like an easy board forums, and we were like maybe a couple dozen people, all sort of acting like Aes Sedai, but they're also talking about the books and real world stuff. I'm like, cool, I'm going to be a brown Aes Sedai. So that's how I joined and immediately became brown. And that's
Love
been
it.
my life ever since.
I love it. And Sarah, like, how did you find the Wheel of Time? What was your sort of introduction?
So my best friend, who at the time was my college roommate, wanted me to read the books. She's a huge fan. So she was like, Sarah, here are some books that you will love. And I read the first like 2.5, and I stopped because I was like, I'm just not feeling it. Matt is horrible. I hate him. He's so dumb. I'm just not like I just can't read anymore. So I got that far and then stopped. And then like 10 years passed. And she'd been being like, please read the books. Like, you really, if you just get past, like, you'll love them, I swear. And I was like, I know, but there's so much else to read, like, whatever. And then the show was announced. And she was like, okay, Sarah, please read the books because I don't have anyone else who will talk about the show with me. So at that point, I was like, okay, fine. I guess I have to now. So I read
Definitely.
all of the books, loved them. We went to JordanCon 2022. Yes. And had a great time. She was like, I'm joining Tarvalon.net. She'd been aware of it for a while. And so she joined, and like 6 hours later, I was like, okay, I guess I'll join too. And I've been part of the site ever since.
Yes.
I feel like those would make fantastic like voiceover endorsements for the Wheel of Time. Like one of my top 10 books to read while stuck in bed for 6 months recovering from
I'm
surgery.
going to clip that later, and we're going to put that on our TikTok.
It makes the New York Times top 5 books that you'll enjoy if you can just make it through the next book.
Just get through the first one.
Well, and we had
it's like one way or the other. Like that's a very common theme is people looking for longer fantasy books or something to kind of fill that gap. Because it's one of my things, and I experience it all the time. I'm a massive anime fan, and there's so many anime that are wonderful, and they get one season of 12 episodes, don't resolve the story, never get a second season ever again, and you're just sitting there like, why? So because whenever I started reading this immediately, well, not immediately, a couple months after I finished the last Harry Potter book. So I was already like, okay, I want a multi-book series. Then I had a friend that I'm not going to fully rehash the story, but a friend that gave let me borrow the Eye of the World, and my first thought was, how am I going to actually make it through a 700-800 page book? And then by the end of it, I'm like, I need more.
See, I got sold on the dragons. Oh, you're gonna love this, Josh. It has dragons. I'm like, oh, it has dragons? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Why?
It's a dragon.
It has a dragon that's not really a dragon.
You know, it's really your fault for just assuming that
has
it was going to be the stereotypical fantasy dragon.
Look, it was sold.
They have the
to
word
me.
dragon.
Do you know what? I want to say that's what they said to me because when I got introduced to the series, I think it was like Path of Daggers was out, and so I started reading, and like I worked at Hastings at the time, so I'm like just going through these books like crazy, and I get caught up, and I'm like, where is the dragons? Like, this is like, you guys said there were dragons. I know there's another book coming out, but. And he was like, well, it says dragon on the page. And I'm, whoa, yes.
There's technically 3 because you have the Dragon Reborn, and then the false dragons. So of dragon types, there are 3 types of dragons.
Look at me, I'm Andrew, and I'm smart.
Without any spoilers, there is another type of dragon. We just don't see them until very further into the books.
Well, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. That's a hotly contended take as well, though. Maybe
my brain hole. Brain hole? Yeah, there's a hole in my brain where that information is supposed to be.
Maybe
still
they'll
not
be nice and put it in private chat for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't remember. If you
Maybe
wouldn't
they
mind.
won't though. Well, I love what you're.
Yeah.
Now you remember.
Yeah. How did I forget about that? It's like one of my favorite parts of the book.
Well, and it's funny we talk about like, Sarah, you talk about getting peer pressured into finishing the Wheel of Time. I too have friends that I peer pressured into finishing the series because I was like, I also have one friend who.
It's a sign of love if a friend. It's a sign of love if a friend reads a 14-book series. Like, that's a friend who really cares about you.
It's like when you're in like youth groups as a kid and they're like, you got to share the gospel with someone, but don't be mean about it. Just be like, look, I have a cookie for you. And that's like the metaphor of like giving someone a cookie because you love them. The Wheel of Time is a cookie. Just give them a cookie aggressively. You want this cookie? Like we had Garrett from Generic Entertainment on a while back, and he's got a video on YouTube called "How Wheel of Time Fans Recommend the Wheel of Time Books," and the main tag is "You'll hate it," and it's his whole shtick is you talk about it's the best fantasy series, but it's got 14 books. Like you probably. There's a slog. There's characters that you're not gonna love, Cowan, and and so it was a really funny point. And so Sarah, I love that you talk about you've got your college roommate who's like, no, you need to finish this now. Like,
and I mean, to her credit, she was right. Like I loved the series. I did even come to love Matt. So. All of the things that stopped me from reading it the first time, like, it gets better.
Would you say that, because on the topic of Matt, because I know Matt's one of those sort of characters, but what it means is he's got a lot of, like, character growth, and so there's a lot of people who really don't like him in the beginning, but really come to love him toward the end. Do you think maybe part of the reason you like him or love him towards the end is because you didn't like him and you have respect for the character, but also for the character's journey?
I think that's part of it. I think that part of it is also just that in the beginning of the books, he is just very like shiny and doesn't think about what he's doing at all. And I found that really frustrating, and that kind of gets tempered a little bit as he goes through the series and as he experiences lots of things.
Right.
So I do really appreciate his journey, but also I think part of it might be that like the character that I started out liking the most was Perrin, and he kind of goes the other direction for me personally.
Hard.
So
same.
Matt seems better by comparison.
For me, I think I started out not liking Matt because I didn't understand him. And it took me realizing that he was an unreliable narrator in his own viewpoint.
Yes.
Before I was able to make the shift of, okay. So I can't trust what he's saying about his own thoughts. And then I was like, okay, this character is much more interesting. So
I'm going to use that in my next defense that I forget something. I'm an unreliable narrator from my own viewpoint.
Yes!
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one.
Well, have you
heard better than like, I forgot. Like,
have you heard my theory about Oliver? Matt always talking about how Oliver is just really kind of an ugly kid. Like, he's an ugly kid. He does not know why all these women think he's just so cute and adorable. And Oliver, I think he's the most adorable little shit you've ever laid eyes on. And Matt's just jealous that the women are like giving him the attention.
Oh.
That's my theory.
I like
actually
it.
just a really cute kid.
I like it. I'm going to adopt that theory.
Making him ugly.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Theory.
That would be a good idea. Oh god, I had an idea, but I can't really talk about it because it'd be spoilery.
I guess that wasn't really a spoiler, right?
No, it's just the name of a kid, and that he's known by Matt for not being a cute kid.
That's true.
So,
and he is,
which is something you learn within like the first 5 seconds of reading that. So I think you'd be fine.
That's true. Okay, we're good.
So,
we're good. Don't need to edit that out.
No editor's note for yourself, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Timestamp.
Yeah, no, it's definitely same here. I'm trying to think. Who did I start the series not really liking? I
It was
didn't really
Nynaeve
like
for me.
Nynaeve. Yeah, I like the first, like at least definitely the first book, and I think it might have gone through the first two, maybe three. She would do something, and I would just immediately just, you're annoying. Please stop. And then like on rereads, it doesn't do the same thing to me anymore because I understand the character more and where she's coming from, which is important for understanding why people act the way they do.
Hmm.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Because that's the great thing about Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson in the end is writing really human characters in a fantasy series. Not everybody has to be all seeing, all powerful, infallible. Well, I don't know that fantasy
Yeah.
makes really. There's always like one or two infallible characters generally, but
Yeah.
but this was
Or-
the first series I read where like I really felt like the characters were people. Like to the point where like we would get in, and it still happens. Like Josh and I will get in discussions with each other or other people around. It'll happen like at Jordan Con and WatCon and everything, where like somebody will say like, "Oh, I hate what this character did," and I will immediately feel like I need to defend my friend. It doesn't actually exist. So
Yeah.
it's really good. So I think it's book 3, book 4 or so that I started tapering off my dislike of Nynaeve and started getting more into the like, okay, like, yes, I like this character.
Yeah, I will say I'll kind of go with the same thing. God, Nynaeve was just very, very annoying. But those first couple of rereads when I'm just kind of going through and I'm like, yes, Nynaeve's mad again. Cool, great. Oh, tug your braid. Yep, cool. I get it. You're mad. We all get it. It's your thing. But as I started to understand more about who she is, and especially when that huge moment happens later in the books, you guys know what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
and you get to see the person that's been hiding behind that anger this whole time, and you just immediately, I almost kind of felt bad, like, oh, I've been a judgmental dick, like, oh no. And so then as you start to like understand more about who she is and how sort of like hurt she is, you kind of go, okay, look, I still don't agree with what you're doing, but, and then you go, this is a book.
I think the TV show does it really well with her too in a much shorter time frame.
Hmm.
Because like
Yes.
it is very much the confrontational, angry, combative Nynaeve, and they do kind of hint at some of the reasons why she is the way she is. But then you get to spoilers for season 1 because I really just can't talk circles on it. If you haven't watched the Wheel of Time TV show, go watch the Wheel of Time TV show. It's on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Prime, find a friend that has Prime and watch it on theirs. Or I'm sure there's other ways, though I don't condone any of those other ways. Don't do the bad ways, do the good ways.
Dragon Mount does rewatches and stuff like that. You can use
Yeah, but you have to have a Prime account to
Yeah.
watch with them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you sign in on, I think,
that's
Twitter or
right, that's
whatever,
right.
you can sign into Prime as well.
Never
Yeah,
mind,
the
don't
way they
that.
do their rewatches is they just start it and tell you to start
Yeah.
watching it at the same time.
Yeah, Josh, you should know this. We've done 2 of them.
But I thought that was just for the strike. I thought once the strike was over, they could just stream it again. But I guess not.
No.
No, because you can't really like restream an entire TV show like on a streaming platform, or you kind of get the proverbial pee smack.
Yeah, you get the cease and desist.
You
Yeah,
get the cease and desist.
I've actually gotten one of those before from Disney. So,
That's not surprising.
yeah. Well, it's not my fault. Well, it is my fault because I left my internet open, but somebody torrented a Disney movie, and Spectrum picked it up. Disney picked it up, and they were like, "Yeah, you got to stop this, or we
They
will no
don't mess.
longer give
They
you
don't
service."
No.
So I was like, "Oh, let me." And I work in IT. I should know better. Anyway, so spoilers for season 1. The scene where they're in the cave and after the greatest ever scene thus far for a male channeler that immediately gets undone, which I understand. It has to be undone, but Logain exploding an axe and literally in one fell swoop murking everybody in the room is pretty badass. It just, unfortunately for him, most of the people in the room that he murked have plot armor and a need to continue in the story.
Plot armor.
Yeah, you know, and that plot armor really shows up in the way of Nynaeve when you get to see this really nice, deeply caring kind of person that she is at heart. Whenever she goes Super Saiyan 3,
Yeah.
and heals everybody. And I think that was a really good way to show how at least I, as a reader, went from viewing Nynaeve in books 1, 2, and kind of 3 to how I started feeling in the last half of book 3, books 4, 5, and the rest of the series. So, and I didn't have to read a bunch of books to get there. So that's one thing I do like that the show did. Like, okay, let's show her crass side, and then let's really quickly kind of give an explanation as to why Nynaeve is Nynaeve.
I dig it.
Yeah, I think it was also something they had to change when they aged them up. Because for me, like, my feelings on Nynaeve changed a lot the older I got. Because I started seeing her less as the annoying peer and more as a young woman that's in over her head and trying to assert her authority when she doesn't really have it because of her age. And you start feeling a lot more sympathetic towards her because of that.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that when she's 25 instead of 18.
Yeah.
Well, and she's got the added pressure of sort of shepherding people that have been under her care.
Yeah.
Officially, in an official capacity. This isn't someone just randomly mother henning everybody because they came from the same place. No, this is an official capacity she had, and she's obviously, all the Emmons Fielders are swept into the world and shown that, oh wow, the world is way bigger than we ever imagined it could ever be. And I love what you're saying there. She's struggling with trying to maintain that role for the people that she loves, and dealing with the other challenges with channeling and things like that. And it's just she's such a complicated character. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Was there any character
on the keyboard?
Sarah, were there any characters that you sort of had that experience with, where you were in the beginning, you didn't really, identify with them, but as you kind of grew and matured in your own life, is there any characters that sort of aged along with you?
Well, I think now is where I admit that I've only read the books once. So I don't have that experience of, or at least I don't have that experience yet of coming back to the books with an older perspective and appreciating characters in a different way. I have just started rereading Eye of the World, so I will have that soon.
Yes.
I mean, for a given amount of soon, given that it's a very long series.
We're gonna check back in 2 weeks, and we hope you've read the entire series. Just saying.
Yes, that's totally doable. I can, I'll pass that test.
You should be reading right now.
But
I like to say soon on the geologic time scale.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't really have that. And the first time I read the series, I blew. Well, the first time I read it from start to finish, not counting my aborted attempt, in college. I read it in 12 months or 11 months or something. So it was all very close together. And I don't think that my opinion on characters changed that much, except for maybe Matt and Perrin, which I've talked about already. So I don't need to rehash that. But I'm really looking forward to, in this current reread, seeing whether or not I have a different opinion on people. Like I liked Nynaeve in my first read. I didn't have that issue with her, but I did find Egwene frustrating sometimes, just because she tries so hard all of the time, and I'm like, girl, you can settle down just a little bit. So, like, I think it'll be interesting to see whether or not my feelings for her remain the same.
Every time someone says something bad about Egwene, like especially our fact checker Mahale, I keep waiting for like Critter to like run in like John Cena and be like, "Who's talking about my girl?"
Oh, let's be clear about Morshadi's comment. He was calling himself the basic bitch.
Yes.
We don't want to rehash that big
good to
Twitter fight
specify.
or X or fucking whatever, Blue Sky, whatever you use fighting.
X fight. That's
Please,
gay.
please, let's not rehash that fight. Jesus Christ.
Let's not do that. Yeah, right. Oh.
But
Well,
kind of-
okay, on that topic, like character controversy, is there one that you kind of like? I'm not asking you to like publicly out yourself as taking a side in one of those, because as Andrew said, I'm not looking to reignite any old fires here. But were there any that you
new fires are fine.
Were there any that popped up that you felt some kind of way about it, and you were kind of like, oh? You of course can out yourself if you'd like. I'm not telling you not to. Maybe it'll be fun.
I don't think I have any controversial opinions, except for my dislike of Matt in the beginning. And I don't even know if that's very controversial.
I think that's about
Yeah,
50-50
so-
there.
I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like
I think-
50-ish.
I think there's two kinds of people. Those who disliked Matt in the first couple of books, and 12-year-old boys. And I say that as someone who liked Matt in the first couple books. So don't at me, or do. It'll be fun. But for real, like I think there's a level of like immaturity that you need to be like, setting the badger loose on the village green. Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
let's go, boy. Let's
some
go.
call it immaturity.
Yep.
I say it's maintaining the child at heart,
That's right. Exactly.
which is my excuse for the immature shit that I say and do.
I think the closest controversial opinion was I didn't hate Fail at first.
It's an important
After-
distinction.
I mean, she's not she's not that bad at first. Yeah.
Just bring it into your mouth. Let the
He's a-
flavor open up. This is horrible.
Is this the meme of the dude with the gold spoon and the vanilla ice cream?
Yes. Yeah, he does the
There's a whole.
let it open up.
Oh,
Taste it.
I hate it
Warm
so
it up.
much.
Get it in your mouth.
There's that one that I hate, and then there's the dude that's trying to teach everybody how to drink whiskey, and
All the whiskeys.
he pours like a shot of whiskey, swirls it around the glass, and just flings it on the floor. And I'm like, no.
And I think that was
That's a waste of
specifically meant
good
to trigger
whiskey.
people.
Yeah. And then he takes like a sip of whiskey, and he does the whole like swirling it around in his mouth like mouthwash, and I'm like,
I love when he's
Okay,
I love when he's like, get up in there, get really in there. You want to just?
And I'm like,
you wanna-
no,
you wanna get it
no,
in there.
you don't. When you get right up in there, that's where it starts burning your nose, and then you don't smell anything because you just burnt your nose. Ugh.
But that's what I'm
Sorry.
saying. I think
Whiskey is a slight, relatively newer passion of mine. Sorry, I just saw that video again like 2 days ago, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't like you, sir.
yeah, he was a professional there, buddy.
But
He
yeah,
sure was. Professional something.
asshole. No.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know that I have any controversial opinions of characters either. I mean, other than I think maybe the most controversial opinion I get is that Luce Theron gets an undue amount of hate or blame.
We've discussed this at length.
Yeah, it's not something I can explain without getting spoilery into the books. We did do an episode on it, and I think like me saying that actually stemmed that episode. Like one of the few times I created an episode idea as of the last year or two.
People,
And I think was
Yeah.
that the same episode that we learned something we didn't know before?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, about
I love the
certain-
look on Doll's face.
I don't know. Like I'm lost in this conversation now. People
So,
dislike Lutheran.
I can do it
No.
without spoiling, I think. So, you know, in the time of Luce there were two different plans to deal with the problem at hand, right?
hmm
And for the longest, we thought that
One
both
was the
plans were
nuclear
just
option.
competing against each other with no like it was just two different thoughts. We didn't realize that Luce Theron agreed to the other plan that everybody wanted, and then when that plan was no longer viable because the evil dudes captured the access keys, then they switched and then they moved and he went with his plan only after that.
Yes.
Oh,
I never knew that until we did that episode. I don't know why
learned
I'm pointing at the webcam with a flashlight,
Why are you-
but that's what I'm doing.
you're lecturing with the
Oh.
pointer.
Yes, Professor Mahale, Professor
No, 'cause it was
Elijah
like-
Mahale.
Where did we
It was
get
like an
information.
epiphany moment for me. I was like, this, to me, I felt like it vindicated my entire argument about Luce Theron. Because he often like comes across as, a guy that acted very rashly, that acted very selfishly, very arrogantly. And I'm not saying he wasn't at least to some degree of those, but I don't think it was as bad as he gets the rap
He
for.
wouldn't have earned his third name if he wasn't an actual good general.
Yes.
He wouldn't be
I
able to
wish I'd
summon
made that
the
point in
9
that
rods of
episode. I didn't even
Dominion.
think about it.
Yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
interesting. Did that come from the notes or something? Like, how did we learn that?
We will, you know what?
look,
After
think it might be
after we
part-
get out of
partially
spoiler
companion.
territory, we'll
Okay.
Yeah.
we'll show you what we
Okay,
uncovered.
all right.
But yeah, it was like
I am not the Watt professor. I wish I was that good.
that's
Um,
gonna be your new title. I want to see your X handle changed tonight.
Oh, God.
Andrew Bijan Mahale, Watt Professor.
Yeah, I should do it and then just deliberately just like answer questions wrong.
You should be like bad Watt takes, where they give like
Yeah.
bad takes or bad advice.
But I want to switch gears a little bit here, because both of you are very very significantly involved in PhD and what
PhD and WOT.
in Tarvalon.net. And oh geez, Tarvalon.net. I know, Doll, you were talking about it earlier, has been around for quite a while. It has definitely evolved over the years. My first interaction with Tarvalon.net came probably around 2018, 2019. I was researching stuff for a podcast episode because we started this in 2018. And now there's three, but two main sites that I use for any of my kind of research, generally speaking, and Tarvalon.net is one, because y'all have a fantastic library of information. So what can you tell us about the journey that Tarvalon.net has been on, and highlights, highs, lows, whatever you want to tell us about it? I really want to learn more about what Tarvalon.net has been through.
So
I'm going to defer to Doll here because I don't have that experience.
No, okay,
I'm a
hold on.
newbie.
Hold on, though. There is a valid place for your perspective
Mhm.
as a newer contributor. So we can start with Doll, but we're coming back to you, Sarah. It's happening. We're
Okay.
coming back to you.
Uh-oh.
So way back in the beginning, like it was 2001, I believe. The founder of the site was Melissa, or Elaine, as her name was on the tower. Her and her roommate Wendy would watch the X-Files while drinking shots of Goldschlager. Yeah, it was college. They were stupid.
I have a bottle of Goldschlager downstairs right now.
So every year, like whenever we get together in our events or at JordanCon, we have a shot of Goldschlager and we tell the story. And the story is they would watch it, they were drinking, and they'd been reading The Wheel of Time, and one of them said, I want to be an Aes Sedai. And the other one was like, well, you can't just be an Aes Sedai. Somebody has to make you Aes Sedai. And she turns around and says, I hereby make you Aes Sedai. And then the other one turns around and says, as the first Aes Sedai, I hereby make you Aes Sedai. And then they started out, they went and made the easy forums, and they started out with like a blue Aja and a green Aja. And from there, they recruited other people, or they made up personalities for some of the Ajas, because they got other friends that come in and make all the other Ajas, and the ones they didn't have, they sort of did pseudonyms until they got somebody to take it over. And then they integrated all these boards into one tower. And then, guys showed up and they're like, well, we're not Aes Sedai. So they made roles for the warders and eventually created companies to sort of mirror the Ajas. And
That's awesome.
we sort of outgrew easy boards because they got expensive or had full ads. So we've been hosting our own forums for over a decade now, using PHP bulletin boards and stuff like that. And we've since opened it up so it's no longer tied to gender. You can be whatever role you want. We also have roles for people who don't want to have the commitment to be all the way in the tower. So you can be a resident citizen and just sort of participate without having to go through all the steps to be raised, all the way up to Aes Sedai or warder. And as I said, after about a year, they started doing events. It started out just as people camping in somebody's backyard. And it got to a point where we would,
Does that sound familiar, Andrew?
everybody would get together and camp in somebody's backyard. And then it sort of evolved into where we were renting cabins or going to a location and getting hotel rooms and stuff like that. So once a year, we have our anniversary party where at the height of it, it was about 80 or 90 people. Now it's about 50, I think. Get together one place somewhere around North America. And we also have a European counterpoint, which doesn't get organized as often. But when the people in our European members can find a spot, they'll meet and do something very similar. And we have a contingent that goes to Jordan Con. And before that, we would go to Dragon Con, which is where a lot of which was where Jennifer started the sort of Wheel of Time track that led into being Jordan Con. So we started getting together around, and it wasn't just about being on the forums. We got this real friendship. And while there's a lot of light role play, it's really just about, community and having some people you can talk to. And we try to give back whenever we go to places, so that we have a servant of all committee that we find different things that we can do, like outreach or raise charitable goods or an organization or an event. So we have that. And we also have a scholarship. So we started giving out the Robert Jordan Memorial Scholarship every year, which is $500 to anybody enrolled in an accredited college, university, or postgraduate program. So you just have to write an essay based on our prompt. And then we have a committee that will read them blind and then sort through to find the best one. And we award 1 or 2 a year, I think. So it's been, just evolved so much over the years.
That's really cool because I don't think I know, at least I haven't heard or seen anybody else that does a kind of Wheel of Time / Robert Jordan oriented scholarship.
Yeah.
And for those of you that maybe haven't gotten the chance to go to college or decided it wasn't for you, $500 in some areas sounds like a lot, in other areas doesn't sound like much. When you are trying to go to college, any dollar you can get is a massive amount of help. And $500, especially if you're lucky enough to be thrifty and get some of the good websites where you can get a $300 book for $30.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It can go a massively long way.
Yeah.
That can be the difference between you getting your your textbooks for a class and not getting the textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
So that is awesome. So,
hello.
I'm glad that y'all do that.
I love, and again, and as
I'm also glad that
said,
Kitty has come to say hi.
Yes.
Yes. What's okay? Everybody stop. What's the kitty's name?
This is Evie.
Hello, Evie Kitty.
Oh.
She wants her true room.
That's okay.
Oh.
So we got a kitty on one screen and a pug on the other. I love that. I think I can safely say this is the best show we've ever recorded ever. Are you kidding? We got exactly. Thank you, 2 geeks, 1 mic. I appreciate it.
No, I've been actually enjoying the cacophony of pug snores in the background. Like every time, it makes me smile.
It's great.
And I'm just like, yes.
It's soothing, right? It's
Yeah,
so
it
soothing.
is.
You're just like, ah.
It's pretty high up there,
So-
like pug snores, kitty purrs.
I love it. It's the best. So, Dalton, first of all, thank you for that. I mean, for any of you listening who are unfamiliar with Tarvalon.net or didn't know that Tarvalon.net had a scholarship or anything like that, please go check it out. Tarvalon.net. It is the actual website. I know I was kind of being funny earlier in the show, but I just want to specify that is the actual website, Tarvalon.net.
And it's in the description below, or show
And it
notes.
will be in it's in the description
The
below.
website is linked below, and there might
And
be
if
some
you
more
know-
links in there. Sorry.
It might be, yeah. If you know a college student who loves the Wheel of Time, like, please turn them on to this. Like,
Yeah.
If there's one thing I love about the Wheel of Time community, it's that anytime we get together, anytime we hang out for something, we try to give back somehow.
Yeah.
You guys have your local sort of events where you try and do something for the community there. I love that. You've got your scholarship that you award out. We try to do something. I know that like Wada Holiday, they have a charity drive. At JordanCon, they usually have a charity drive for amyloidosis research. I love that is a common denominator amongst Wheel of Time fans and gatherings, and it shows truly the heart of the people who love these books. And I think that's amazing, and I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah. Like we take the name Aes Sedai is servant of all. We try to take that seriously because we really
And-
are Aes Sedai. It's not just a cosplay.
Yeah.
We want to embody that. So
And Andrew and I have kind of done the same thing where we've talked about, Ashiman are guardians. Like we want to make sure that we are someone who can be trusted in the community. We want to be someone who can build and give back to people and help where we can.
You got to be trusted.
Shush. I'm trying to spin some yarns here.
Absolutely.
Okay, now Sarah, as I said, we're gonna come back to you as the newer person in Tarvalon.net. What are you I mean, you're kind of a newer person to the fandom as well. Like you said, you had a couple of starts, read the series once, you're going through your first reread, which is awesome. What's been kind of your perspective on your experience? Yeah, just trust us. We're good. We're trustworthy.
We're from the Black
taint
Tower,
is
and we're
cleansed.
here to help.
Okay, it's fine. We cleaned it. What? Just as someone who's signing off for the last couple of years, what's been your experience? What's been your highs and lows? What's the tea?
I think something that struck me about the fandom is how nice it is, which is not to say that there's not disagreements or that Twitter kerfluffles or whatever drama, but just in general, I think so many people in the fandom are just genuinely warm and welcoming, regardless of where you place on the fervor rank. So even if you're just kind of like, oh, I like Wheel of Time, but I'm not going to join a Wheel of Time forum, it's still welcoming. So that's something that I've really been impressed by within the fandom, as a whole. And I think that's true about Tarvalon.net as well. When I first joined, it was I was joining with my good friend. I didn't expect it to become my whole personality, and it kind of has. So I didn't expect to find that sense of community. Yeah, I do think I'm winning. I didn't expect to find that sense of community and just how closely knit everyone is, but in a really, or for the most part, in a healthy, friendly way. So I think it's great. I've not seen that replicated in any fandom, and I think part of that might be just because of how long running it is. Because obviously the books have been coming out for a long time. There's been a lot of time for the fandom to build and for excitement to build. And we're still getting new things. Like, obviously, even though the books are done, we're getting the show. So it's not like stagnating, you know? So
even new
it's just been
story
great.
points. Like Brandon's revealing new things about the stories that we're all like, what?
What?
Well, I think the big one he revealed
Don't say it for spoilers.
yeah, I'm not saying what it was, but I think that was for lack of a better phrase, or maybe there is no better phrase, foretold. That I think it was forbidden from being revealed until the 10-year anniversary of the release of
Yes.
A Memory of Light. And then it was like there's information about a character. They did tell us like, hey, it's not groundbreaking or shattering. It's not going to completely shatter your entire view of the series, but you know, it's something that it seems that most people hadn't guessed. As we know now, there is at least one such person that had guessed it when it happened. You dirty, dirty innkeeper, you know who you are. Yeah. Like when he was like, yeah, like we had a discussion. I'm like, Matt, I both hate you and love you so much.
Does it count as a guess if you're just a fanboy and that's what you wanted to happen anyway?
Here's my 376-point empirical essay on why I'm right.
Anyway, Sarah, sorry, we kind of jumped in there for you.
Yes.
No, I mean, I don't think I had anything else to say really. Just that, yeah, it's been great, and I've not participated in a fandom like it. I don't think in all of my like time in fandom. So I do think it's unique.
We'll say like the show account on Twitter, because I just refuse to call it. Well, not refuse to call it X. I'm just like nobody knows what that is. It's a letter in the alphabet. It seemed like so I'm not super involved in the Twitter community anymore. Not that I ever was like super involved, but I would scroll it frequently. Now I don't even really do that because apparently I'm getting old and grumpy now, and I just don't really look at too much online. I just don't have the spoons for it, I guess. But it would seem that when we were waiting for news for like season 1, especially, that an argument would spring up or just a very spirited discussion, and it would go for like a week and a half.
How diplomatic of you.
And then the Wheel of Time, the Tweeter of Chaos, it wasn't the Tweeter of Chaos at the time. What was the first thing we gave?
It was He Who Tweets with the Dawn.
Yeah, He Who Tweets with the Dawn. What happened to my English there?
That was the first. That was the first runner of the official Wheel of Time account. He Who Tweets with the Dawn.
Yeah, Wednesday would come around, and there'd still be this discussion going on, and then news would drop, and the discussion would disappear. So, my theory was that the online Twitter-based fandom cannot go more than 2 weeks without an argument unless there is new information released, and if there's new information released or things teased, it delays that argument by at least a week to week and a half. And I'm not going to say
argumenting arguments on Twitter, it's just how the fandom passes the time.
Oh yeah. It's like if we get riled up enough, we'll grab the Tweeter of Chaos's attention and they'll throw us a nugget like rations to the peasantry so that we stop
starving dogs.
Yeah.
We're all starving dogs. Give us the content.
Just walk in there like, hey, whoa. Hey. Whoa.
Here's a pizza slice.
Here's a poster.
Yeah.
And then we spend the next week obsessing over every slight detail in the poster. So they embrace it. Like I love it.
It's true. It's true. Because as well, another common denominator as a fandom who loves to give back and be charitable.
Are you laughing at my cat?
No, I'm sorry to comment.
Oh, she just knocked something off my desk, and you started laughing.
No,
I was
sorry.
like-
It was absolutely the comment. Um,
Oh.
Sarah, where I was going with this is I understand your whole like I didn't think it was going to become my whole personality, but then I started doing this thing, and now here I am 5 years later. So Andrew had started the Black Tower podcast with someone named Aaron, with a gentleman named Aaron. He's a good guy. We like him. He's great. He had to step away. He was like, "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. It's just a lot of time." They were looking for a new host online, and I was like, I had just stopped my other show, which is Two Geeks One Mic podcast, which is the commenter, and that's actually my brother.
Oh, okay.
But it's a show that we have, which is more geek. We've got sort of like a cosplay relaunch going on, but I just kind of put that on a hiatus, and I was like, I think I'll jump in. I mean, I like Wheel of Time, and I haven't been able to talk to anybody about it in forever, so that sounds like fun. Fast forward to 2021, and we're going to JordanCon, and we're like, oh, we have to go every year now. And then 2022 was our second year, which was 2021 was the COVID year, so it was like it was almost like
Yeah, that was
JordanCon
the
light.
July year.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
wasn't even in April. It was in July. It was very, very minimalistic. It was still so much fun. And then I remember Andrew and I leaving, and I was going, you know what? We just ruined ourselves because we can't not ever come back. Like we have to always come back. We can't not return. And that's how it is. And we haven't missed one since. And it's just been, it's so a lovely, and it's a reoccurring theme. It's a reoccurring joke here.
Well, and
The
now there's
real
WatCon
treasure
too. So
is the friends we made along the way. And you don't expect it. You go, oh, this book series that I loved. And I finally found a community of people who like talking about it too. And oh, this is going to be so nice. I'll be able to fast forward a year later, and you're like, I'm wearing my shirt. I'm wearing my ring. And me, I'm over here like, I've never sewed before. I'll sew an Ashaman jacket because that's what I do. Like, what is this? And I love that.
ooh,
I guess my point here is in hearing
see a ring.
There it is. That's the original one. That's the original one.
Yeah, I wear it around my neck because I don't like
love
having
it.
anything on my fingers.
I am the
Very
same way.
Oh.
I like hearing both of your experiences as sort of getting involved with Tarvalon.net. It mirrors, I think, a lot of people's stories in getting involved with the community in which they go, this is a fun place. I'll jump in, and they find home immediately, and it becomes centric to their entire, online personality. And I think that's something that's beautiful because I think it's done in a very healthy way. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So as we start moving into kind of winding this episode down, is there anything about Tarvalon.net that you would just really like to make sure people know about, or experiences you've had that really stick out to you that you'd like to share, anything like that?
I sort of feel like I covered a lot of it in my outline. But yeah. But like the scholarship,
Like
obviously
last call.
it will be, later in this year. I think it's in the fall.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, do you know the dates on that?
I don't remember, but I feel like it was in the fall.
Okay.
I don't remember.
If you know what we should do, Andrew, and I'm saying this right now, knowing that this is going to be my responsibility and asking you to mother hen me into making sure I do it because I still haven't updated the Patreon list on our website. We should start doing a Wheel of Time happenings on our website, and we can start advertising the Tarvalon.net scholarship when it's available, as well as other things that might be happening
So
around the community.
I actually just looked it up.
Yeah, I was just looking.
I just looked up our last one. Yeah. And our our last one, applications opened in mid-March 2023 and were accepted until mid-May. And then
Okay.
we announced the recipients in July. So I don't know if that's going to be the timeline this year, but possibly. It's a good
Yeah.
starting point.
That seems about usual for when we do it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a
So
good time
for
to
any
give
of you
people
looking,
plenty of time before the start of the fall semester.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so for any of you who are in college who need a couple extra bucks or you have a love for the Wheel of Time, please, tarvalon.net. I'm sure there's going to be there's some information there. blacktowerpod.com. I'm going to make sure I put my information as well as a link to tarvalon.net on there, so you guys can enter into that and maybe help you out a little bit.
And it's not tied to English.
And also,
I was going to say, if you do not have to be
go,
they're
go for it, Doll.
not judged at all on grammar or anything. So if English is not your first language and you're going to school outside of the U.S., that is perfectly fine. You're still eligible to enter, and we won't be judging you based on your grammar. It will be on the content of the essay itself.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
I was going to say that we will post on social media about it. So when applications open, like information will be posted on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. So if you follow us on social, you'll figure it out.
That should be good
Excellent.
because Josh is definitely our social media and in-person social butterfly of the team. I still interact, but I'm also the kind of person that'll like sit in the corner with like a glass of like whiskey and just watch until I've had like too many glasses of whiskey. Then I'm very happy-go-lucky.
You have the strangest social battery I've ever seen in my life, and that is that your social battery is normally here, which is fine. It's great. I'm not judging, but it gets zapped real easily. But you have a great ability known as alcohol recharge your social battery.
Most people need a power outlet. I just have a couple of drinks and then suddenly I'm like outgoing crazy. It's almost like it releases your inhibitions. So.
I think I'm the same way, Andrew. So I'll be in that corner drinking whiskey with you until a certain point.
So in April at JordanCon, we need to, first off, the four of us need to get a picture. I'm just, and second off, Andrew and Sarah, we need to give you guys like a couple glasses of whiskey and just run around and have a great time. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I will be in the main room.
I'm pretty sure that.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a contingent of us from Tarvalon.net drinking whiskey, so we'll be around. There was last year anyway.
Before the Goldschlager toast.
Both
after and before.
Which much to Josh's dismay is definitely the far superior cinnamon liquor to Fireball.
I will. Well, hold on.
Goldschlager didn't almost kill me. I mean, not that like Fireball actually almost killed me, but when the last thing you remember is taking a shot of Fireball and you wake up to an empty bottle and your buddy passed out on the couch, you don't assume anything good about the empty bottle. So, college. That was the night I woke up with there was he brought a jar of moonshine from the store and it had like the elastic band around it with the tag. Yeah, I woke up wearing it like a bracelet with no idea why. And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, I'm in my bed in my dorm room, so it couldn't have been that bad. And nothing bad did happen. Except I had to go to work the next morning.
You get super, super drunk in front of Maria and you have to live that
who would do that
for the rest of your
who
life. I don't know who would do that. Some kind of slob, obviously. But here's the thing.
I appreciate the support.
In honor of Tarvalon.net and the founding of Tarvalon.net, I have pulled out my Goldschlager. I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Here's
The-
common
The
misconception.
star of the
Gold
movie Superbad.
You do have to mix it up in order to get some of the gold flakes. If you don't get any gold flakes, you're not really drinking. You're just drinking Schlager at that point.
True.
Let's see. I'm drinking out of my Two Rivers Sniper shot glass.
Nice.
Take the shot. Two Rivers Sniper, take the shot. And I'm gonna pour this up, and I'm gonna remember my college days there. And hey, to Tarvalon.net, thank you so much for being here, guys. We really, really, really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
I will toast with a local craft lemon lush
Mm.
beverage, which is delicious.
I will toast with an empty
I'll-
water
I'll
glass.
toast with my
Cheers.
cider.
It is the sentiment that matters.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We talked about our Patreon earlier tonight. If
Yep.
you want to
But
watch
again,
this
if
live
you
as
want-
we record,
No, you were going into it. I'm sorry.
if you want to watch this live as we record, become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We have a lot of fun here. We also have pre-recorded shows. We have Patreon exclusive channels in our Discord. And we do things like we did earlier, where we give you exclusive content for you to give us your opinions and feedback on, and help shape the direction of the show. But if you don't have the money, which we understand because times are crazy, things are expensive, things suck, but things are also great. If you want to just support us, leave a like button. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, show us your support there. Please go to Tarvalon.net and support these amazing humans who are running a truly fantastic site. Sarah Dahl, thank you so much for being here. Once again, tell everybody where they can find you on the way out the door here.
I'm Tarvalon.net.
I mean, it's in the name, I know, but I'm giving you a chance to say it.
Go to Tarvalon.net. Or I'm going to let Sarah answer the rest of the socials are all Tarvalon.net or something like that.
So we're our social media accounts, we're usually either at Tarvalon or at TarvalonNet. There's a division, so I can't tell you which ones are which, but if you search for either of those, you'll find us. And we post most regularly on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I believe. But we also have a TikTok and a Pinterest and a Reddit account.
And Blue Sky.
Yeah. And we do have a Blue Sky. I don't know how active it is because I think that I would be the one doing it and I'm not doing it. So
I would have
we
to
do
log
have
in.
one in theory. Yeah.
But if all else fails, go to the Tarvalon.net homepage, which is again Tarvalon.net. And scroll to the bottom, and right underneath the graphic for the Robert Jordan Memorial Scholarship, there are links to all of Tarvalon.net's social media. So go and definitely check those out. Give them a follow everywhere. And when you follow them, tell them that the Mahales send their regards, even though they know we do because they're hearing it right now. But definitely go
but
and
in a
check them
cool
out.
way, not in a the Lannisters send their regards, not in that kind of a way.
Yeah.
In the cool way,
A cool and acceptable way, like it's a gift, not a curse.
not a murder.
But thank y'all both so much for carving some time out of your personal lives to come and talk with us both about your experience with the fandom and just some opinions on characters and the show and the books, as well as telling us some more about the fantastic and incredible legacy of Tarvalon.net. Thank you also to both of your lovely aminals.
Yeah.
Animals,
Right.
not aminals.
Mr. Squeaks
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, remind me of
Evie.
the cats.
Evie.
Evie, that's right. I should
Yeah.
remember that. It's my
It was an absolute pleasure to get to relax to the pug snores this episode. I loved it. It was fantastic. I kind of want that to just play as like a background track in like the future episodes, just more subtly in the background.
Can we sample that? That would be great.
Probably. I mean, you're gonna have to get Mr. Squeaks like permission. So
I need
You
written
know,
consent
I
for
think this is the face of someone who would be delighted.
it. Oh my god! Hold on. Show that face again, real quick. We need. No, that's not the one. No, stop it, Josh. Andrew, save me!
I got you.
Thank you. Look at that face. I just want to smoosh it. You're
Oh,
so
the
cute.
little tongue.
He's got a. I think it's called a blip.
Blip.
Wrong bug.
It's because it's because she's missing teeth. She doesn't have enough
Oh.
teeth, so her tongue doesn't stay in her mouth.
No.
Well, it's
Adorable. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Again, thank you both so much for giving up some time. Please extend our thanks to the rest of the fantastic folks at Tarvalon.net because it is an incredible team. They'll do incredible work. And I, again, love the wiki because it makes my quote unquote job, it's a hobby,
Research.
so much easier doing research. So, because I know I can trust the information at Tarvalon.net. And you can too. So go and check it out. Again,
Yes.
that's Tarvalon.net. Go and check it out. Can we say it enough? Go and check them out. They're fantastic.
One more time.
One more time.
Oh, it's so hard to remember the address. It's Tarvalon.net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tarvalon.
Tarvalon. Tarvalon.
All right, now tomato.
All right.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of the Black Tower Podcast. I have been your Bajan Mahal, Andrew.
And I have been your Sarvan Mahal, Josh. Thank you so much for listening tonight. We love you. We appreciate you. And we thank you for tuning in for your weekly dose of change. And we hope that wherever you are, you leave here just a little bit more insane than you were when you first got here.